I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Architect D. Uday Kumar, Associate Professor and Head Department of Design, Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati, Assam. Architect Uday has been involved in the field of visual communication design. Since 2010, he is teaching at the Department of Design, Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati. Currently an Associate Professor and Head of the Department. He has designed the rupee symbol of India. Let us now proceed to Architect Uday's presentation.
It gives me an immense pleasure to present at ICON Best 2021 organized by SRM Institute of Science and Technology, primarily the School of Architecture and Interior Design, Chennai. And I'm thankful to the organizers for this invitation and giving the opportunity to share my experience and knowledge in designing the rupee symbol. Today, I'm going to present about how I designed the Indian rupee symbol. Before I move on to the presentation, I would like to give a brief introduction as in how it actually started, the design of the rupee symbol. So it was a competition organized by the Government of India, the Finance Ministry and the Reserve Bank of India together, announced a competition in the year 2009. So at that point of time, I was pursuing my PhD at Industrial Design Center, IIT Bombay. I was nearly submitting my thesis, and at that time this competition was announced, and like any other enthusiastic designer, I was eager to participate, and I did participate and submit my designs. But for 3-4 months we did not hear from them, and later on I got a correspondence from the ministry that my design has been chosen as one of the 5 finalists who were then asked to make a presentation for about 10 to 15 minutes to a panel of jury members. So we were being called, all the 5 finalists, they were all from different parts of the country. So we were called to New Delhi to make a presentation for about 10 minutes. It was a closed presentation. So all of us presented. It was in December 2009. We made a presentation in front of the jury members, and the jury comprised of 7 members. 3 from reputed design institutes, 2 from Finance Ministry, and 2 from Reserve Bank of India. So that includes the Deputy Governor of Reserve Bank of India then, Ms. Usha Thorat. So we made the presentations, and after the presentations were over, we did not hear from the ministry for a very long time. And in July 2010, all of a sudden, my design was announced as the chosen design for the Indian rupee symbol. So it was announced in the media by the then broadcasting minister, Ms. Ambika Soni. So only then I got to know that my design has been selected for the final design. So after that, there was a lot of media coverage, and many things happened. So today what I'm going to share is basically the same presentations which I made to the jury members, which was about 10 minutes. But I think I have been given the liberty to kind of expand certain aspects of it a little more to make you understand as in the details of how I went about designing the rupee symbol. So now I'm going to share my screen. I hope you will be able to see them. So this is the same presentation which I made to the panel members then in 2009. As you all know, this is the Indian rupee symbol, which is now in use. So one of the concept or the core idea of the symbol is basically the Devanagari scripts and the Roman scripts. I try to blend both the scripts together to create the meaningful symbol. The reason it being that, so when the government announced these competitions, they had a lot of rules and regulations that has to be taken into considerations. So one of the important criteria they laid out was that the symbol should reflect our Indian culture, Indian tradition, and values. So going by that, and so that particular factor kind of drew my attention, and I wanted to kind of bring out that essence of Indian culture and tradition in the symbol. So when I looked at various Indian symbology through history and various other visual vocabulary. So I try to, I found that Indian scripts is best kind of reflected our Indian culture to a larger extent. And so that's how I kind of ended up using Devanagari script, yeah, so which is used for writing in the language, and then also the Roman script. I'll tell you the reason why I try to kind of blend them together. Uh, so I choose the Devanagari script because that is one of the unique scripts in the world for two aspects. One, in terms of its writing system, and two, it is also has a very unique characteristics to that script, which is the top line, which you here you can see the blue line, which is called the Shiroreka, which you will find it like attached with all the other letter forms of the Devanagari script, so which you will not find in any other script, in at least majority of the scripts around the world. So this kind of creates this uniqueness and a unique identity as a part of the script. So to give you an example, so if you have to kind of make a Roman script into an Indianized version of a Roman script, so typically what people do is that they add a top line in front of the above the letter A, B, C, or so, and then try to kind of showcase it as an Indian version of that particular script. So that's why this top line, which is called the Shiroreka, plays a unique visual, gives a unique visual identity. And not only that, like I said, another unique aspect of the script is that it is the only script which is written from the top line. Yeah, so all the letters kind of hangs from the top line, again, the Shiroreka, unlike many other scripts which will sit on a baseline. Yeah, so considering all of this uniqueness and also projecting this Indian identity, that's why I try to kind of use the Devanagari script. And I've choose the letter R, which is basically an abbreviation of Rupiah. If you expand R, it can kind of expands to Rupiah, which denotes the Indian currency. Similarly, I try to kind of incorporate the Roman script R, and it expands to rupees. So Rupiah and rupees both denote the Indian currency. The reason to include the Roman script is primarily because the symbol is going to be an international symbol. So people across the globe are going to use this, and I wanted to kind of make it meaningful to people across the world, and so that they can understand what it stands for. So that's why Rupiah or rupees, I try to kind of combine both the Devanagari and the Roman scripts together to create this script. Not only that, it also had a lot of other embedded meaning to it. So one of it is that it has this tricolor flag. Symbolically, I try to kind of portray them onto the symbol. And if you look at India, India is a very diverse country from every aspect of it, taking it from the geography, from language, from culture, from religion, from community, from practices, food, even fashion. So from every aspect of it is kind of very diverse, from north, south, east. So it becomes very difficult to kind of portray a one single identity. Yeah. So, and I wanted to create an identity which is which will cater to this diversity, and at the same time where everybody will be appreciating or will be patriotic about the symbol. And most importantly, I do not want to create a biased symbol, because like I said, there are different aspects to this country. So I don't want to kind of make my symbol inclined to one particular community or religion or sect. So I wanted to create something which is very unbiased and which is again patriotic, which a common man will, or a common Indian would kind of feel proud of or will own it. Yeah. So and flag is one of the one visual entity which kind of binds all of this, all of the people, all of the common people together, and create this unity, yeah, amongst all this diversity. So everyone, every Indian will be kind of be proud of the Indian flag. So that's the reason I wanted to kind of that's the reason I wanted to portray the flag onto the symbol, to create an unbiased symbol, and at the same time where everybody can feel proud of it. And it also represents an arithmetic sign, which is the equal to. Basically, if you look at economy, yeah, so or the commerce, yeah, it's basically a transaction of commodities. If I give one material and you give an equal value of that material in exchange of it, yeah. So in ancient times, it used to be the barter systems where we exchange products of equal value, and over time, it kind of we had this common currency with which we kind of transact. So I also wanted to represent this idea of commerce and economy into this symbol. So that's the reason you will find this equal to sign. And at the same time, I also wanted to kind of showcase a balanced economy. So we would want to have our Indian economy to be balanced and stable all throughout. Yeah. So and also to flourish in the future. So that's the reason you will find this arithmetic sign in the symbol. And I also studied a lot of other currency signs across the world and try to understand what is their history, what is the concept behind it, and how they have been designed, and what do they mean, what do they connote, and so on. So on studying all of these things, and I kind of came about the symbol, and I based my visual characteristics along with in lines with the other symbols. Yeah, it is more or less harmonious with the other rest of the currency symbols. And at one time, there were people once, after I won, there were a few people who kind of criticized it. It looks like a copy of other currency symbol, but it was meant to be like that. Yeah, so that was precisely the reason, because I, like I said, I kind of went through a lot of currency signs. Here, I've just put in a few of them for your understanding to tell you. Here, you can see there is a certain kind of a visual characteristics to all of these currency signs. Yeah, so where you can find that a letter is being cut across by line, a single line or a double line, either vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. So that in fact kind of becomes an identity for a currency sign. So that way it has its own distinct visual characteristics as compared to any other symbols. So so that's what we kind of learn in semiotics and semantic theories. Yeah, so where there are certain graphical element which will have certain meaning associated with it, just like a crescent or a cross, which means Christianity. So similarly, a currency sign has its own visual identity, and that's very much evident from the examples that you see on the screen. So that is the reason I try to base my design also in line with the rest of the currency symbol. So it has to be associated with the rest of the currency symbol, then only people will be recognizing it as currency sign. Otherwise, it might end up being something else, a traffic sign or some other identity. So it was done with purpose. And I tried to keep it as simple as possible, and also used an existing letter form for the design, so such that even in the writing process, even the recall value is very high. So you don't have to kind of practice to draw this or write this symbol. Since if you are familiar with the Hindi or even in the lattice script, it will be easier for you to write it. So the implementation, once it's implemented, the adaptation becomes a lot more easier. So you don't have to train yourself to draw the symbol, but since you're already familiar with the scripts, it will be easier for you to quickly write them. And visually also, it is very simple. It only has 3 strokes. So cognitively, it kind of reduces this complexity in terms of the visual complexity. So that way it becomes easy for visual memorability. So, and also to recall. I also looked at the finer aspects of the symbol, because since I come from a typography, type design, graphic design background, so we also look at type design, typefaces at a very minutest level, and try to kind of manipulate the stroke thickness and width to create an interesting, aesthetically appealing design. So I worked extensively on each aspect of it, and each one of them has also have a function to it, which I will explain over the slides. So and I also try to balance the symbol. Yeah, if you look at letter R or R, if you see the lower part of it, you have this slant line which looks like falling on the left side. Yeah, so it has this because of this inclination, so that letters tends to kind of flip or fall onto the leftwards. Yeah, so that's why I tried to give an opposite slant on the 2 strokes on the above to kind of balance this visual force. So likewise, in terms of different axes and in terms of the length of the strokes, I try to fine tune it to its best. And not only I worked on the rupee symbol, but I also designed the paisa symbol. because like you can like you see in other currencies where you have a dollar and a cent, and likewise in many other countries you also have further denominations. But in India, you right now it is just the rupee symbol, but we also have paisa. Uh, since it does not have a design, so I tend to kind of wanted to design something in similar to the rupee symbol. So that's why I kind of created, on the right you see the symbol for paisa. But of course, the jury members said that we will think about it. At the moment, we do not have any plans for such kind of symbols. But as a designer, I kind of anticipated and wanted to give more than what the brief states. So that's the reason. And importantly, because I wanted to kind of create a family, and I don't want the spice. If at all the government would want to kind of come up with a paisa symbol, I don't want it to completely have a radical design. So I wanted to have a family, a harmonious design. So that's why I myself created the design for the paisa as well. But yeah, right now it is not in implementation. But so as an idea, I try to provide it. So this is seen with the Devanagari numerals. Most often the rupee symbol is seen with the numerals. So I just want to kind of showcase it along with the uh, Indian numerals as well as the Arabic numerals, how it would appear. I also try to study the Unicode positions, where it will look in, where it will appear on the keyboard and so on. So this is the current keyboard. I mean, this is the proposed Unicode positions. But of course, I'm not from a computer science background. This is only my preliminary understanding of where the encoding system could possibly be. Of course, it requires a further in-depth research and understanding where this could actually be positioned. So from my understanding, I try to put them in a certain position to give it a position in a Unicode system. So if you look at the symbol, you will have all of these multiple characteristics, multiple meanings embedded into the symbol. Yeah, to make it to make an Indian, to bring about this Indianness into the symbol, to reflect that Indian tradition and cultural values into the symbol. And you need a symbol because there are a lot of other countries, especially the Southeast Asian countries, also use rupees as their currency. So now with this symbol, Indian rupee will have its own unique identity and significance, and can be easily differentiated with the other currency signs. And I did not leave it there, but I also kind of looked at examples where a common man would look at it in a day-to-day life. So all of this I kind of worked out even before the design was finally approved and implemented. So I try to choose examples based on different printing technologies, printing surface, color combinations, and various contexts. And again, where generally in our day-to-day life we will come across such designs, such symbols. So here you can see on a packaging tin how you could see the symbol appearing, and this is a dot matrix. In a lot of these government organizations, they still use dot matrix printers, especially in the rural areas and post office and judicial system. So then I thought how whether this symbol will be legible or not. So I try to kind of work on it, and that's where the fine tuning of the symbol comes. If you remember my earlier slides where I showed you the construction drawings of the symbol, so I try to kind of adjust the length and width of the strokes to accommodate all of these printing techniques, and also to ensure that it is legible across mediums and surfaces. And here you can see in medicine tablets. At the back, you will have these basic informations about the price and the expiry date of the tablets. Typically in this, what happens is when you stamp it, the ink actually spreads. So that way the letter forms gets smudged and the legibility gets affected. So I try to kind of envision that and modify the symbol such that it is still legible. On a complex background, this is a bond paper. And the older paper actually has RS and RU written, but I now kind of replace it with the symbol. Another stamping technique where rupees was written in older systems, I kind of replaced it to kind of showcase it how it will look like with the rupee symbol. And I also try to place it in the keyboard itself. Yeah, here you can see it on numeral 6. But the recent keyboards, the newer keyboards, have the symbol along with the dollar sign in the numeral. This was just my suggestion because The present keyboard has an upper arrow there, which is primarily used by the computer programmers. I thought, why not replace it and have a symbol there? So that was my idea. And these are all the railway tickets. Here you can see both the old and the new tickets. You can see the difference of how the rupee symbol would look like in a ticket. And one of the advantages of the symbol is that it could also be used in a typewriter. Here it is an example from a typewriter. So in a typewriter, you don't have to kind of have an additional key. All you need to do is just type letter R and have a strike through, which is already there in the keyboard. Yeah. So that way, it is kind of compatible in older technology. Typewriter is also still being used in remote parts of the country. So that's why it is essential that this symbol could also be implemented using this bank slips and challans. Typically, how a common person will kind of use the symbol in terms of writing, and also look at LEDs, how it will appear in LEDs, whether it will be clear, legible. So I also looked at examples in terms of scale and size. Yeah, even at a smaller scale and smaller size, it should be clearly visible. And again, a few more examples on bank checks here. I kind of replaced the RU and RS, which was the earlier abbreviation for the rupee symbol, currency, Indian currency. So I replaced it with the rupee symbol. So, and this is the most common place, is the price tag, where you will find the value of the product written along with the particular currency. Here you can see in three currencies, which is the US dollar, the UK pound, and the rupee symbol. So you can see the harmony in across the symbols. So yes, so a symbol should signify a meaningful thought. Meaning to a symbol is like soul to a body. Without soul, the body is nothing. Without a deeper, sensible, and thought-provoking meaning, the symbol is needless. This symbol truly symbolizes our country, our tradition, our nation's economy, and its currency. So thank you. At this juncture, I would also like to acknowledge a few people. I'm thankful to my school teachers. I studied in a boarding school, Lasha Klein Residential Junior College in Chennai. And I'm also thankful to my professors from undergraduate college, School of Architecture and Planning, Anna University. I'm also thankful to all my professors from Industrial Design Center, IIT Bombay, where I did my master's and PhD in design. I'm very much in debt to all my teachers, because it is their knowledge that has shaped me to what I am today, and I'm presenting to you all is all because of what they have shared to me. So I'm really, really thankful to all my teachers right from my school days. And I'm also thankful to my parents for always being there and encouraging no matter what I do, and also to my friends who've been very supportive of all the endeavors that I've been taking forward. And thanks to all my friends and to my parents. And finally, thanks to School of Architecture and Interior Design, SRM, Institute of Science and Technology, for giving me this opportunity to make a presentation and to present in front of the August gathering. And a special thanks to Professor Saravana Raja, whom we fondly call Katu. So we were together in IDC while I was doing my MDes. He was really good at various things in design, especially in visual communication. I often took his help to educate myself. So thank you, and thank you, Professor Katu, for all this. So thank you and all the best.
Thank Uday for your presentation. It has been an enjoyable one. Now we shall take a short break for our sponsor video.
This is Amit, and I am a proprietor of Metro Books, and our firm is a 12-year-old firm located in Delhi, and we have our head office in Delhi, and we have our two branch offices. One is in Pune and another one is in Chennai. So we are dealing in architecture and engineering books, and our core specialization is for engineering books, engineering and architecture books. We have our specialization in architecture, planning, interior design, animation, facility design planning, digital architecture and construction project management, urban design, etc. So as you see, there are different books we have in our offices. So let me tell you, explain you the different books here. Like we have books for different publishers like Thames, Anderson, Lawrence King, etc., MIT Press. So you can see here in this rack that like all these books are very basic books, and most of the books are into various universities syllabus, and also there are some civil titles are also there, like the Sears one, like the passive and low energy, and you can again see here some very basic books required for all universities. And you can see here the books in this rack is for Wiley, and this is a US based publisher, very renowned publisher, and publishing books on various subjects and very famous books they have published. So that, and we are directly procuring from this publisher. And in this rack you can see the Routledge publisher. This publisher is from UK, and again a very renowned publisher in the field of engineering and architecture subject. So they also publish on all the subject like planning, urban design, interior design, fashion, animation, photography, etc. Like again you can see some books published by Indian publishers in this rack, and these are the very basic books published by different publishers. So we are also doing publishing for architecture books, and we deal in architecture books, and you can see these are the books by Design Media, and again this is a very famous publisher for design books and architecture books. And like I have told you that we are into the publishing field also, and we have published few titles on architecture subject, and some more titles also we are going to publish in next year, and this year also we are going to publish few titles, and we are still working on those titles to get it published within this year. Like one is for planning, and other one is for architecture, and one is for history of architecture. So these are the fields which we are planning this year. And you can see here the books based on design. This is again a very famous publisher for design books, and name of the publisher is Sandpoint. So that's this publisher is from China, and again you can see some more books for Link publishers, and that is again also a US publisher. Again you can see some book published by Actor publisher, and you can see some Archibald books are also there. That's again a very Korean publisher. Again some books are for links or different on housing, digital architecture, on housing, roofs, etc. And here you can see the books for European publishers. So all these books are for European publishers. So these are the books I have just shown you, and we are try to cover each and every subject relating to architecture, especially in publishing also. So that's all from my side. Thank you.